CMD, or just back in the 1990s, I would use .dot to represent any file name in MS-DOS, but I've seen more scripts using just these days. Does it actually make any difference which one I use?
File name and extension have been a single field ever since Windows 95 and NT 3.5 introduced long file name support, and wildcard matches are done against the entire file name at once. As a result, you can have a file name with no dots in it, perhaps rare for files, but very common for folders/directories, and at first glance, .dot wouldn't actually match such files. Old scripts using .dot will still work because of compatibility code. If the wildcard ends with .dot, that part is ignored by the OS. So if you wanted to specifically match files with an extension, I guess you would need .dot for that. But it's not something you should rely on. If you're writing scripts for modern Windows versions, follow their conventions, not MS-DOS conventions. Note that as of Windows NT, that scripts are not interpreted by MS-DOS anymore but by CMD.exe, a native Win32 program. On Linux and various other Unixen, name and AMP extension have never been separate in the first place, and there isn't any special magic to make .dot work, so is the only choice that makes sense.
It's probably worth mentioning that the Unixy/POSIXy shells like Bourne Shell, Bash, KSH, ZSH, etc. do wildcard expansion of glob characters like range, and other expansions like braces and extended globs to compile a list of arguments before the command is executed. So this expansion is done by the shell, not the command to which these may be arguments of. I.e., the shell is responsible for what .dot expands to. This is not the case in CMD, and similarly for PowerShell utilities, as it passes the glob characters verbatim into the executed command, and so expansion is the responsibility of the command/utility and not the shell. So ultimately what .dot all means is left to the utility, leaving it to conform, or not, to conventions, which is why CMD's utilities like .dot also matched, arguably incorrectly yet preserving expectations, files without extensions. I believe it's safe to summarize this way. Under CMD it depends on the utility. Under PowerShell, utilities that make use of the wildcard pattern class will provide a consistent subset of POSIXy behaviors.
CMD